What's good, man? It's OG Drip, man. This channel where we talk about the spiritual truth and how to utilize energy on a day-to-day basis, man. And check this out, man. First of all, I'm going to come in with just something that just kind of tripped me out because, you know, like I was telling you guys, you know, when you sometimes when you look at these history channels or sometimes when you just listen real good to it, you can actually kind of see the lie or what's being covered up, right? So, or you can just see the truth, and some people just ignore that part, you know what I mean? And that's just beyond because some of us is be created with a bias, even if it's just from a religion, even if it's a race, you know, and it go deep because when we have this type of knowledge about something and not coming open-minded, we basically got doors closed for different intellectual property that we would have been able to gain and be able to further ourselves and become more expanded. But for that, it's like it get deep, right? Because I was watching the History Channel, right? And I was watching they probably revamped it, re-edited it or something like that. But I'm pretty sure it's like be a lot of retakes of some stuff they already did, but they probably just kind of sharpened it up. But I was basically watching the one that they was talking about the Mayans, right? And the first thing you hear when they really start talking about the Mayans is why they had a fire surrounded in a circle. You know what I'm saying, basically, and what they was doing with this fire of how they was tracking the sun. So that automatically told you out the gate how they was tracking the sun and the moon. So it was just crazy because they were tracking the sun using the fire and they was tracking the moon throughout the nights, of course. But the way they break it down is like they scam over it. But it's just crazy to me that most religion don't even see how that is what all religions was trying to grasp or point at in some way. But y'all know these religions kind of did it on purpose because it was a divine thing. And, you know, when I get in deep in detail on that, I would do a video breaking down what year and all and who did what. If y'all want that type of situation, you know what I'm saying? But I might just do it for fun anyway, you know, just to do it and just to show like how these people brought religion in. But it been around, but how they got it kind of like a mainstream thing and got people to accept it. So when people went accepting religions, when people didn't like certain parts of the book or certain written manuscripts, it started adding adjustments, which later on created other religions, but still promoted off the same thing. You know, how to see man in a God's image. It's like inverted. So when people looking at a picture of, say, a person and the sun behind them, they're looking more at the person than the actual picture that's behind them, or they're looking at the person and thinking as an actual person and not as a thought or image or idea or a masculine energy in any form. So when it come down to that, or even taking action or constructing or creating something, like, so it get deep because it already have people lost. And this the reason why when you see somebody like me get up here and they say like, yo, if you in a religion, just drop it. You know, it's cool to have it or whatever when you got through whatever you got through. It might have helped you got out of prison. It might have helped you got through a certain situation where, you know, you had to, you know, basically come to an outside source and give all your energy to that source. But at the end of the day, the thing that was playing the outside source was not your friend, was more of your enemy that was listening to every word you said. You know how some people used to say the devil be listening? It's stuff like that, right? Where this is actually what's going on. So in a sense of you have to know, you know, and all the time, you're not going to be even in your own head screen. That's what it be saying about it. Just, you know, that's why we got to look up and see what God's saying, how to tell time. So now when we know how to tell time, we got a lot less chances of us getting into some things or bad things happening in a way that we didn't want it to. You get what I'm saying? Even infinite regrets. So this is another thing that religion don't teach. And this is why those people like suffer from infinite regrets or suffer from infinite, what it's called? God darn it, you know, it's something like basically go against what it just said, contradictions. So this is the reason why it seems like that. So even if you're not religions, even if you're not none of that, the way that these things are just pointing us towards is just the sun. But the way that we spell it out, or in the moon, and in the way that these people spell it out, they're more in love with the watching of the sun because they're going by the day calendar. They're going by the solar days. You know how they look at Adam days and all the times of the beginning Bible of how they had people living up to these far ages, which was really degrees, and which was really, when you start looking at it, it wasn't talking about actual people, and it was talking about more of the lunar sign of the moon, of how the moon moving versus the sun. So the sun is like a very, very slower pace. That's just like today when you look at how people is born. They're born within a 30-day period, right, of saying this is what their sun sign is, such as it is Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, however. You get what I'm saying? Depending on the month. You know, you got the beginning of summer being cardinal, which is Cancer. You got the beginning of the fall being Libra. You get what I'm saying? The beginning of the spring, Aries. You get what I'm saying? So you got each one of them being the beginning of a season, and each season having 3 things. So when you got 4 seasons and 3 is back to 12 again. So a lot of people get it mistaken for actually thinking when you're looking at the clock nowadays that it was created with numbers first. No, it was created out of the way of, they said, God's vision, out of the 360. So now when we're looking at a clock or something like that, even when you're looking at a 12, 3, 6, 9, when you're looking at it, those is just like the beginning of, like what I was going to explain, the beginning of a season. Oh yeah, and I was finna say, yeah, Capricorn. I forgot to say Capricorn, y'all. That's cardinal Earth. But yeah, but either way, going in, those will be the 4 signs, the 4 corners of where something is getting ready to start. And you get what I'm saying? Then you got the fixed signs with something being maintained. Then you have the ending when something is getting ready to show the detailing or getting ready to what need to be added or adjusted a little bit just to end off. So when it come down to that, we can see that even with the seasons, when it's like the seasons switching and stuff. And it's something we experience from a day-to-day basis, but just the way, like I'm saying, they like to confuse it and have what's going against each other. So then when you is trying to look out, and of course they're going to tell you astrology is evil, but it is to a degree. But that's when you got to learn how to use it for the right stuff, because the way that they explain it is because they broke it down to a religion and made it like this part of the world versus this part of the world. And that's not what he was talking about. He was talking about the spirit on the east. It's talking about the body on the west. And it's like a whole bunch of confusion. Dang, I'm gleeking everywhere. But anyway, mouth dries on the wet, man. But anyway, got to get this out, because it's just like some people, you know, we could say messages up here, and the way that it get conveyed sometimes, you might not even be in your right feeling. And this is the reason why I be saying look up, but it's just really a sense of us knowing what planets is aligned where like, it's just like, you know, recent with the with all these squares we got right now and all the trines. By you understanding what a square and a trine even is, helps you understand, and especially when you're looking at the signs, like, okay, a trine got to stake off in, just giving y'all a quick breakdown, into 3 different, the same element of each planet being in a different zodiac, right? So it'd be, just say a planet in Leo, a planet in Aries, and a planet in Sag. That'll be a trine. You get what I'm saying? Then you got a square when it's on the opposite ends of each other. So if you was to take like the wheel and you put bum, 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 just like that, the 90-degree marks from each other, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. And it's just trying to get people that's not into astrology just to understand what people be looking at. It be looking like a whole bunch of numbers and stuff, but it's really just the same thing as you looking at a clock right now where it says 12 and it goes all the way back around, back to 12. But this 12 represents the day, and this 12 represents the night. So a lot of people get confused with that. They want to make it out more than it is. Even in their own manuscripts, it even says separating the day from the night. And basically, it all is just showing you, you know, separation, but at the same time of understanding these 2 things are separate, but they have different transits they get into, different moves they get into, just like you. You get what I'm saying? So they try to break that down to us, but you know, a lot of people, by us taking it in so much of being so related to it, as above, so as below, that we end up getting washed and actually making it the opposite way. Oh, so below, that means as above. Like, and it's like, what? No, it ain't how it works. It only works from the inverted, the other way around. So you only you as a spirit, you're born first as a spirit in the birth. Then you gain a mind, then you gain a body. So like it's confusing for a person. But if you even think about it, it started off from basically a 9, right? From being the highest number of how people like to put things, no matter what digits you use and stuff. So if you want to look at it from a numerous perspective, in order for something to start over, or for something to get ready to enter the world, how they like to put it is they have to be inverted. So that's why a lot of people say that it'd be an inverted world. Like they have to come from the 9th dimension to the 1st. But a lot of people nowadays think that we were born first and then gain the spirit, which is already lost, and it don't make sense. You get what I'm saying? Like at all. But at the same time, and that means born on earth. See, that's why I said I had to break that down, because it's like inverted, because the birth realm is the 7th, 8th, and 9th dimension. But as in, we just saying that as in breaking it off from a conscious perspective, but it's not an actual place that's just sitting there. Nah. And I don't like people to get lost into that. So even when I have to say that much of stuff, it's just a lot of confusion that be on the internet as well, where when some people get a voice and they just feel like they can talk, and sometimes they let their ego be over it. Like me, I'm quick to tell you, yo, when you want that reading alignment broke down on a quick level, or if you want it on a quick note to get in deep details, you get what I'm saying? I can do that, but I do know someone that's better. And the only other person I know that's going to break it down, and I say shout out to my boy Dolo the Pilot, man. And that's just what it is, bro. It ain't no extra none of that shit. It's just that's the only nigga I know that break it down from not having a religion perspective with choosing or either east or west. He just use it when it's supposed to be used. You get what I'm saying? But a lot of people, they already come in as a Western astrologer because this the book that was gave to them. And by them learning through this person's eyes, that's the only way they know. They don't get to learn with their own eyes and experience with themselves. So when you hear certain people talk, you be like, damn, he had a lot more, like a lot of self-experience. Like I told y'all, with even my experience, it really came recently, and I'm going to drop a video showing y'all my son and stuff, because that man, he got big. But I should have dropped it when he was younger. But either way, man, when he was younger, so y'all can see how small he was at the time to be able to perform the little miracle job he had to. But at the end of the day, it's deep because, you know, a person get up here and try to just type in Tarot, and it's almost like the YouTube algorithm know that type of stuff, right? To where they'll put you with a certain people in a certain group right there, where when you're clicking on this person, they're a little bit of lost, and the way that they getting guided sound just like 1,700 other people, where they can't even come up with their own creativity of how to even express astrology on different notes. And that is when we know that they're following a certain mind, no matter what it is, and no matter if they know it or not, they're unconsciously doing it. So you have an unconscious thing that you do, and you have a very conscious thing that you do. And conscious is just when you're aware. The unconscious is basically when you're not aware to what's going on. So, like, you know, a person that might not realize how much they bite their nails. They might not realize how they walk in their shoes. You know what I'm saying? Until somebody pointed out, or to now they get told to pay attention to it, or something made them look down, and now they're like, what the heck? I ain't never noticed that on me. You know, some people don't even notice moles or different marks on themselves, because in this world we be so busy and so ongoing, you don't even have time for yourself to even be able to really like sit down and analyze stuff. But a person to look at me and be like, well, that's why you sitting in the car making a video. But like, listen, that's why it's people like that out here for me. We is meant to help each other. It ain't no against each other. We all here to help each other. At the end of the day, if you're not able to take the time and be able to study, or be able to see how we got tricked and betrayed out our lands, let somebody like me do it, or allow someone else, like on the same path, you get what I'm saying, of doing this for their life, because this is something they like to do as well. So I'm very passionate about doing it. So if I'm coming up and doing it and stuff, that's cool, because at the end of the day, this is something you don't have to do. So you could tend to your regular life, but at the same time, you can pop that video on and play me and still get a different perspective and a higher optic, and even lower, even mid, for seeing different things in different ways and fashions. Because at the end of the day, it be choosy too when somebody like high vibration, low vibration. I hate that to a degree. So at the end of the day, we all help each other. So while people at work, it's still stuff got to get done. Y'all make the world easier for everybody else. Then while you got people that's created, like content creators, doing things like me, it's making y'all life even better when it come down to when y'all need that other